Press Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. This is episode number 140, and this week I do welcome back Scott, aka Scobie1. What's up, my friend?
Hey, everybody. I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. And on the other side, we do got Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, ending my vacation. A little sad.
Hey, at least you get to end it with us, man. Come on. The best way to end it.
What possibly more could you want? I couldn't think of anything other than spending some time with us.
With the bros. Talking about some video games and maybe even drinking a couple beers. You just never know. But nonetheless, it's been a long. I think we haven't had an episode in about 3 weeks, so maybe we had some time to play some games. Maybe we didn't. Obviously, life is on go at all times. So let's dive into the list that we have been playing. Kick it off here with my game, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn. It is a game that was our shoot to win game club game the month for August. I did finally get through it. It was a 6 out of 10. Overall, not that great of a game in my opinion. It's like they tried to make a Souls light game at the double A level, and it kind of just plays really rough. Like none of the side content was there. The story was just, I don't really care. The story, like the characters were just meh. Voice acting was meh. Combat was just like meh. Like it just wasn't like a great game, but it wasn't terrible. Like I'd played bad games, but like playing it compared to like Lies of P is like night and day difference.
I think you're gonna have a really hard time finding something that's gonna give you that same feeling that Lies of P did. You were all about that, and you're gonna try to scratch that itch.
Yeah, I guess I was lucky. Like Lies of P might be my first like legitimate Souls game, and then trying to go back to like a game like Flintlock, you're like, yeah, no, it wasn't a good idea. Need to go play Elden Ring, I guess. But nonetheless, I mean, it's on Game Pass. It's a game that I don't recommend buying, but the fact that it's on Game Pass, I'm sure people that wants to scratch that Souls like game that doesn't plan on investing a ton of time into it, because I think I beat this in like less than 18 hours, I think it was. So it's a rather quick experience, especially for a Souls game. So you can definitely hop into that. But Roger, I actually want to talk about one of your games that is also recently added to Game Pass, and it's a game that it's on my list to get to eventually, and that is Atlas Fallen. How has this playthrough been? Is this worth checking out?
It is an okay game. It is. That's all I'd say. Is it's okay. It's not bad at all by any means, but it's a fun one to play cooperatively. And the game acknowledges the fact that you're playing cooperatively. Cutscenes, either you or your partner can start it. They're the one talking, or you're the one talking. It doesn't, it literally takes into account who is there. Like you're both in the game, and it makes it feel that way.
And who have you been playing with, Jordan, or have you been running with somebody else?
Disney.
Yeah,
Disney and I have been playing.
So it's like relatively easy also to like pick up like control and mechanic wise, because I know like Jordan can struggle with some games, but if it's like easy for her to pick up, that's awesome. Because like some games can you just like there's just too many mechanics going on here.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a good game in my opinion. I'm actually super happy to have played it so far.
Yeah, I'm definitely eager to check it out. I don't think it's going to be a game I play here in 2024, but it is on my back catalog to check out in 2025. Another game that is on my backlog for 2025 is a game that Scott has on his list, and that is Immortals of Aveum, aka Call of Duty with Magic. How's this playthrough going?
I'm still very, very early. It's got some interesting elements. Other than that, not too much to report yet. When I play a little bit more, and I get a better idea, then I'll be able to give you a more well-rounded idea. But it seems pretty fun. The story's pretty decent so far. Yeah, I can't wait to actually get into some of the thick of it and go from there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked fun. The marketing did really well. It was selling me on it. And, like everyone was like, it's legitimately just Call of Duty, but with like magic. And I'm like, I'm for it. As long as it doesn't overstay its welcome and it does what it's telling me it's doing, then I'm definitely for it.
I don't think we'll have an issue with it overstaying its welcome. I think it's got a little bit of something for everybody there, kind of.
Yeah.
As far as the gameplay, some of the story, and some of the cool shit. So
Yeah, that's dope. All right, let's talk about another game that I actually recently beat. It's a game that I wishlisted a long time ago, and then it was actually on sale for like $3 on the Xbox store, and it's called Aspire: Ina's Tale. It's kind of one of these like side-scrolling games, reminding me of like Inside or Limbo or Gris, which is another game I recently beat. And it was a pretty interesting story because you're playing as like this character, and your name is like the heart, and like you find like different parts of the body, and you're trying to escape this like inside like you feel like you're in captivity in like someone's body, and you're trying to break out of it. And it's a pretty cool like storyline following. It's a really quick game. It's like 3 hours long. But overall, it was a really just chill, like relaxing game. But like I just enjoyed like the story premise, and like you're working with like so many different like emotions and the different parts of the body. And it's just how the puzzles kind of culminate, and like different things that you can actually discover, which you actually can discover thoughts and memories of these different parts of the body as well. And then like kind of give you like of like what that person was in real life and what they did in real life. It was pretty cool to see that like tie in as well. But yeah, if anybody's looking for a quick game, cheap game, Aspire Ina's Tale, INA apostrophe S. But let's talk about another game here on Roger's list. Let's see here. Roger, which game do you want to pick out from your list that you have a lot to say about?
Uh, let's see here. Nothing really is sticking out to me as something I want to talk a lot about. We could talk about Risk of Rain, the fact that that just got their DLC now. And honestly, I think it just goes to show with r- lately these games are putting out DLC after DLC after DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those games where like it got acquired after a good indie game built like the studio that built this had a great game going for them. They sold it to Gearbox. Gearbox got a hold of it and
They fucked it up.
oh yeah. Yeah,
They
it's
fucked it
it's
up.
pretty fucking
You
bad, dude.
gotta
Like
call a
it
spade a spade.
yeah, it feels bad. Like that's the part that gets me is how bad it feels. Because like it was unplayable on almost every console except for PC, and even then there were like game-breaking issues with it.
Yeah, and I'm glad to see Marshmallows here actually in the chat now. I guess we can throw in our later portion because it was going to be our hot topic of the week for a community question. And you just kind of mentioned it, like the issues with the DLC, and it's just like, and they're trying to like patch on the DLC that accidentally made the boss like kind of invincible, and like basically making the game unplayable. And it's just like, what the fuck is going on? Like this game
Hmm.
was really good. Like I know Marshmallow played a ton of this game and was super excited for this DLC, and it just came out and just flopped hard, like really hard. Like what the
It
hell's
was
going
like
on?
it was like some like Tom and Jerry ass comical like put out one fire and another one comes up. Like
Bigger.
how do you accidentally make a final boss invincible? Yeah, like how do you have how do you act like oh
Can you imagine
oh
like running into that for the first time and like you think you're going crazy? Like
oh
as the
man,
player, you're just like, why the fuck can I not
yeah.
kill this mother?
I
Like,
would have I would have a new monitor on order. Like it'd be getting shipped here.
I
Like
mean, like, and the worst part is he says they had a quick fix after a week. It's like a week.
that's the longest fucking week if you're trying to play Risk of Rain 2. It's a
The
long
brand new
goddamn week.
DLC drops, and you're like, guess I won't play today.
But this is just another long like another tally in like the long list of games that have just like DLCs or launch. They're just fucked. Like people don't care anymore.
Mhm.
People don't care anymore. They don't give a shit. At this point, it's like it's no longer about getting a good DLC out. Like a good DLC. It's not about having a good DLC. It's about having a fast DLC.
Mhm.
And it's about
unless you're
having that
Elden Ring,
content.
apparently
Unless you're Elden Ring, but Elden they took their fucking time. I mean,
they shipped another game. Basically, it's like 40 hours of DLC.
yeah,
Mhm.
they took their time. They gave just the right amount of fucks.
But I think you guys kind of hit the head like earlier is the fact that like this developer got bought by Gearbox, and I think when games get bought up by these bigger companies, these companies are just too big to kind of give it that focus that the game needed. Like this game
You ain't
needed
got you,
that love, that home love, but it didn't have anymore, and they were just trying to milk this shit for money. It really just comes down to money.
but your
Mhm.
QA almost goes out the window, basically.
Yep.
It's like and it's not that the QA goes out the window, but they start worrying about the wrong things at that point.
Mhm.
Like they're worried about okay, instead of worrying about like content, usability, playability, stuff like that, they're worried about speed. They're worried about fucking ROI. like getting their money back. Like, how much are we pumping into this? How much are we gonna get back? Is it gonna be fast? And even then, and it's upsetting to say that like a lot of times they'll just be like, get it out, we'll fix it with a patch. If some people can play, what's most important is we get it out because we have people that want this out to start getting their money. We want people to buy it.
Yep.
And then we'll fix it. Well, fuck it, we'll do it live, basically. Like we'll fix it in post. Like that's it. And it's just it sucks because like then you have great games that just fall off and they just get shit on. You can take, as we are currently actively seeing, you can take a great game that a lot of people love and you can fuck it up for everyone.
Yep. And honestly, I'm gonna segue this right into one of the games I've been playing, and that's Star Wars Outlaws. Again, this should have been a fucking layup of a game. Like, it's Star Wars. The IP is going to sell it without a doubt. We know we know the success from the Jedi games, Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order. This was a layup game. I understand it's being made by Ubisoft, and the thing is, if Ubisoft would have just did copy and paste Ubisoft what Ubisoft normally does, this game probably would have been fantastic. But the issue is the issue I'm having now is like they're going back to like PS2 style gameplay mechanics. Like, oh, you got to sneak around, don't get caught. If you get caught, you got to reset to the last checkpoint. Like, that is a PS2 game mechanic. If I should be able to fight my way out if I get caught. I should be able to bribe my way out if I get caught. I'm a fucking smuggler, for Pete's sakes. Like, it's a joke in the movie. Han Solo says, I always get out of things, or I always talk my way out of it. And Chewbacca's like, no, you don't. You always get caught. And like, why don't you, like, if I get caught, I get put in the jail and then I have to escape prison or something. Like, add something to make the game feel more immersive instead of, oh, you got caught, restart from the beginning of the checkpoint. Doesn't make fucking sense.
And reset.
And then like when you're playing along, like you have your pistol, and then like if you pick up someone else's guns and then you interact with anything else in the game, you climb a ladder, click on the fucking computer, you drop the gun. You lose the gun. Like, you don't even get to keep it at all. It's just there's a lot of mechanics in the game that just doesn't make sense, and especially coming from Massive Entertainment, which is the creators of The Division. Like, if you would have just gave me The Division but threw a Star Wars skin on it, I would have been perfectly fine with it. Like, you could have literally copy and pasted the exact game. It would have made perfect sense.
And our only complaint would have been like, yeah, it's just like The Division.
Right.
Moving on.
Exactly. I'd have been cool with it. Like,
it felt playable at least.
Like, it's getting better as I'm playing through it. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, they do start to give you a good variety of missions, and I'm happy for that. And there are some occasions where it's like, don't set off the alarm, and it's like, oh shit, you set off the alarm. Now you're going to fight your way out, but you're probably going to die because you are completely outnumbered. But also, like, for the story, I was like really excited because this takes place in between episodes 5 and 6. It's a very lawless time in Star Wars, and they really could have dove into the whole like the crime syndicate aspect. Like, they're there and the reputation system is there, but like, it has no impact on the story at all. You can make everybody excellent, everybody poor. Who gives a fuck? It does not affect the story at all. It just gives you like access to different merchants and different gear that have no real benefit really. And then it's
dollar bills.
And then like in the grand scheme of things, the story still circles back to, oh, you're helping the rebels defeat the Empire. And I'm like, but you didn't need to do that. You really did not need to include that at all. Like, give me Star Wars 1313, or give me like Star Wars Bounty Hunter, where you're literally just worrying about the crime, the underworld of Star Wars. Like, that is a really underdeveloped, utilized part of Star Wars. That this was a layup, and they just missed.
He's like, I'm not gonna simp for a Grand Moff, but I would at least like the option to simp for a Grand Moff. If I could, that'd be great. It's something about the
and uniforms. It's like, going into the game, everyone was like, oh, this is going to be like GTA but in Star Wars, because they had the whole wanted system and stuff like that. Like, nope, this game does not play anything like GTA.
It's like they took all of these aspects from different games that would have been great, and they just decided to, how many things can we fit in this game and not do well?
Yep, pretty much.
And that's they just shoved it in there.
My man's playing a Ubisoft game, hoping for anything other than mediocre.
But see, I wanted to leave Ubisoft out of this. I really wanted to make this just about
I mean, like,
Star Wars Outlaws.
When you say enough is enough, like, you guys are in an abusive relationship with Ubisoft, and you're like, you know,
I'm not. I haven't been.
I can change her.
Assassin's Creed Mirage
I
was
can
great.
fix her.
Look, they said that they were sorry.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed
Sure,
Mirage was
this is-
good, right? Prince of
this is the
Persia
18th
was a good
game.
game. I just think it overstayed its welcome, to my opinion, but it's a good game. Even Far Cry 6 to me was good. It was a fun game. Like, I've been dealing with
I thought Far
fun
Cry 6 was
Ubisoft stuff. The
Yeah.
Division 2 is still fun to play today. So like been dealing with a Ubisoft that I'm okay with. Like, I know what Ubisoft is going to give me, and my expectations are going to be a 7 out of 10, maybe an 8 out of 10 game. But you're not giving me that right now. Like, you did, you basically said,
this is one of those
you did the opposite of what Ubisoft normally does, and it's just doesn't work for you. Like, it clearly doesn't.
This is one of those moments where it's like I expected nothing and I'm still let down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck
I mean,
happened?
like, I literally was expecting this to be hot garbage. When I saw it revealed, they were like Ubisoft, and I was like, I can smell garbage. I could smell.
And to make
actual
matters worse, right?
feces.
Like, you could have played this game like 3 days early if you bought the $100, $180 edition of the game.
I would have.
And the game was like broken the entire time. And like, Ubisoft asked PS5 players to install an update, which then also restarted their entire saves from scratch. So no matter how far you were in the game, guess what, buddy? You're starting over because your game is broken.
Felt good.
Yeah, I was like, and it's like you're charging people like all this extra money just to play early. I just don't get it.
Once
Like,
again,
I
they don't care about good.
I don't think that paying to play a game early is an incentive. Like, that should never be an incentivized thing to play the game early. Oh, no game has ever come out 3-4 days early and it's a good game. It always comes out and it's broken.
Yeah, well, it's like, hey, we're gonna go get your
technically,
dinner.
Space Marine just came out and it wasn't broken.
That's fair.
Might be a one-off, but yes.
When it comes to a lot of this, it's like, hey, we're gonna go fresh bake you a cake. Okay, awesome. If you pay us $20 extra, though, you'll get it 20 minutes early. But the cake won't be done. But you'll have it, and it'll be here 20 minutes early. But then it won't be cooked. But it'll be here. 20 extra bucks.
Yeah, so that's definitely the issues I have. So hopefully Star Wars Outlaws gets better as I continue to play. Obviously, patches are going to help. I mean, generally speaking, like, the game looks beautiful. I love the customization I can do with the camera and the graphic setting, the performance. Like, I don't drop frames at all, and it's a really massive world. No pun intended there. Gunplay feels great. The characters there in the game are really good. Like, and like some of the nods to like certain parts of Star Wars lore too. Like, if you go to Mos Eisley and you go to the cantina where Han Solo shot Greedo, the burn marks are still on the wall from the blaster. So like, the little details in the game are there for especially Star Wars fans. And it's
it's
just
so hard to find a good contractor in Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Honestly, so hard.
But I mean, maybe I'm just like trying to think too much of it, but like the whole sneaking around, like, the gameplay mechanics could be a ton better, and maybe it just takes for a quality of life fixing major update that comes on later. But nonetheless, let's move on here to another game for you, Scott. Is Deadlock. This is a Valve game that was like in secrecy. Now it's been officially revealed, but the only way to play it is like invite only. So tell us about this third person like hero shooter that they got going on.
Dude, it's fun.
If you're allowed to, I guess.
It's pretty fun. It's I mean, yeah. Think of it's basically a third person League of Legends, almost same kind of mechanics there.
So it's Smite.
Yeah, a little bit like more like Smite. The heroes they got a lot of cool nice cool little abilities. Everything seems super like kind of fun and like it took me by surprise because it's really hard to be like totally original in some of these games for MOBAs. But it's pretty fun. It's pretty good. It's still very not balanced. So it's either you are doing the wiping or you are getting wiped, and there's really no in between. They're few and far in between. But it's fun. You have your lanes, you have your lane travel, stuff like that. Plays great. The shop, you have your normal metas for your characters, like the game does its own suggested metas, stuff like that, but you can experiment a little bit and you can buy things that suit your playstyle a little bit better. All in all, it's enjoyable. It's really enjoyable. I haven't really found anything bad about it to say. It's kind of like like an amalgamation of like your League of Legends, your Overwatch, Smite. Like
Mhm.
it's fun. It's
Good.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not bad at all.
Like,
and it seemed like it's been doing really well. It peaked at 171,000, and the 24-hour peak was 163,000, and right now it has 106,000. So a lot of
all
people are
this guy
playing.
needs to do is invite us right after the game because he can do it. Right after the podcast, he invites us. We go play.
Right, maybe we can
Are we
give it a
friends
go.
on Steam? Are we even friends on Steam? Are we even friends in real life? What are we doing
Are we
here?
even friends?
Are
So
we even friends?
just
Do I even like you?
two quick games that I want to cover real quick is first Black Ops 6 beta. Roger, you hopped in with me last night and we played a little bit. What's your quick thoughts on the beta experience?
It was a good game. I was genuinely surprised that like it felt smoother than the last few Call of Duties have for me, and I was just actually happy to play it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Black Ops 6 is an interesting title. I mean, even from the main menu music, like we were talking about before we started playing, we're like, Call of Duty always has some banger like main menu
Mhm.
music, and like yes, it reminded me like old school, like Black Ops music, and then excuse me, the gunplay feels fucking phenomenal, and like the new Omni system, I'm still trying to get used to it, but this game is fast. Like it makes the movement system really fast. Even you, Roger, were like, this shit's crazy. Like it's fast as
Like,
fuck, and TTK
yeah,
is
man.
fast as shit.
Yes, it's fuck boy.
Yeah,
Like, and some of the guns, like at first I jumped in and I was like, man, it has taken me a year to kill someone, like a fucking year. And then all of a sudden I play for a few minutes and I was like, Jesus Christ, it's taking seconds for people to die. Like, spawn die, spawn die.
Yes,
Spawn,
very
all I
much.
do is spawn, die, spawn, die, spawn,
it,
die,
it
spawn,
really
die.
comes down to like literally like that the continuation of the Call of Duty like gameplay cycle is like you play the game, you unlock new guns, unlock new attachments, unlock new perks, and you're like, ooh, and then you start to discover like what works best for you, and like that gameplay loop is just it's addicting, and it always has been addicting, and that's why Call of Duty
I
reigns
was gonna
supreme.
say that's the one thing that Call of Duty will always have is that play loop, man. It's just
I literally
it's
turned
fucking
my
crack.
XM4 into like a BB gun shooter, into a gun that just fucking melts people. Like Roger, what was it? I dropped 65 kills in the one game. Like I was just shredding fucking people. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, overall fun experience. I'm looking
Fucking
forward to the
hacks.
game dropping on October 25th. Shout out to my birthday weekend, or our birthday weekend, I should say, I guess, right? Um but last game here, I just want to cover. This is more in regards to how I played this game, and it's Battlefield 2042. I did play this via Amazon Fire Stick, and that's because they finally released the Xbox app for the Fire Stick that I have. It initially released for like the most recent Fire Sticks that I didn't have, the 2024 version or whatever, but it finally came to mine. It plays just like any other cloud gaming
Mhm.
device really works, and it actually works pretty phenomenal. I mean, you're still dealing with like controller input lag, and it's like really really small. Like I notice it because I play on controller every day on my console, and that's like no input lag. So like once you play for like 30 minutes to 45 minutes, like your brain kind of just adapts to it, and like you just start to forget that it's even there. Like you just
Mhm.
start to play with it, and you just understand. And I was just playing Battlefield, and I was like, yo, it just works. And it still looked pretty good too. It wasn't like the highest fidelity like I would normally on my Series X, but it still ran pretty good at like probably like 1080p. I was probably
Mhm.
running like 60 frames minimum. So it was still playing fairly well. So happy to report that the Xbox app for the Fire Stick runs pretty good.
Good.
That's
Yeah,
actually that's pretty cool.
on
That's
Wi-Fi
that's
too. Like that was all strictly Wi-Fi, not even wired in or anything too.
I'm glad to see they're doing it right. I'm glad to see that it's stable, it's usable, it's playable.
Yeah,
That's
I
huge.
think
It's
once
huge
that
actually.
whoever can master or figure out the whole input lag, they're going to be good. That was the benefit with Google Stadia, I think it was, because their controller wasn't tied to any Wi-Fi network or Bluetooth network. It was tied directly to the internet connection, so it was like 1 to 1. It kind of just worked, and I don't know why none of the other cloud streaming those services don't do that. Um,
That's,
but
yeah.
yeah. So only time will tell. I mean, cloud gaming is still in its infant stage. Like it's still growing. It's still like coming into. Like, it's a very niche market, but definitely
Mhm.
allows you to play games in different areas. Like that Fire Stick I played on is in my daughter's bedroom, so I was playing it on like a small TV while she was taking a nap or whatever. So it was like easy, you know. But if that's all the games that we wanted to talk about that we've been playing, we'll go ahead and move on to the rest of the episode. What do you guys think?
Let's
All
do it.
right. So, just real quick, there was some highlights into games coming out this week. Did put up the typical videos of what's to come. Starting on tomorrow is Space Marines 2. If you didn't pay the extra money to play early, that game is doing really well. I think it's reviewing like 8s and 9s out of 10. It's doing really well, and I never realized that this game was built on the same engine as the World War Z engine. So like when all those zombies, like the mobs of zombies that are piling on top of each other, you get to see that in this game, but like all the Tyranids that are doing it. And I was like, that's pretty badass. And watching some of the gameplay, I was like, yo, this shit looks badass. Like I'm really excited to check out Space Marines 2.
Mhm.
Some other games that are coming out. Satisfactory is entering its 1.0 release on the 10th. I know Roger, you and the rest of the crew over at Lunacy Arts is looking forward to that one. Um,
Yes.
Next one I know, I think Marshmallow was excited for is Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince is coming out on the 11th for iOS, Android, and PC. So that's right around the corner. And then on the 12th, one game that I'm kind of looking forward to is Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. It's a new racing game in the Test Drive series. They've been away for a while, but good to see that they're finally returning. Also, Jackbox Naughty Pack also releases on the 12th. So uh, I thought Jackbox was already pretty naughty as it got pretty bad. So I don't know how this pack is going to make anything
The
any better,
prompts
any worse.
themselves.
Yeah,
It's yeah, like the content of the questions themselves are a lot more
Here
aggressive.
for it. I'm here
Yeah.
for it.
yeah. And then we also
I
got
love that shit.
Lollipop Chainsaw Repop also comes out on that day. Anybody that's looking forward to fucking shit up as a cheerleader. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the games I wanted to really highlight. It's another pretty big week for game releases, but definitely the highlight got to be Space Marines 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and move on to our industry news that we got for the week. All right, going to kick it off here with some actually really exciting news for Remedy. They announced that they signed an agreement with Annapurna on producing Control 2, so they're going to help get the game out to the customer. But on top of that, they're also going to help them bring Control and the Alan Wake franchises to film and TV, and I'm like, I'm for it. Like these are two of my
Mhm.
favorite fucking IPs in all of gaming, and if done correctly, like this could do
Would
really
be
well.
really good.
Like Alan Wake already blends the reality of like gaming and like reality, like because there's real imaging and TV and video already in their games. So like them being able to just make a game now for it is going to be really impressive. And thinking about it, like Remedy kind of already has this, like with Quantum Break, one of their games it was an Xbox exclusive. After each level that you would beat, you would then watch a 30-minute episode of a TV show based on the decisions that you made in that level beforehand. And that was really badass. So if they can like expand and do that kind of stuff, but like with movies and like an actual TV series, I'm for it. Like the quality is definitely going to be there, especially for the story writing. All right, Roger, what's going on with NetEase? Because there's always something going on with them.
Yeah, so NetEase is going to close down the developer of Visions of Mana, Oka Studios. The news broke on the day of the release. They're like,
Wow.
yeah, so we'll drop the game, and that studio's gone. Thanks, guys. Thanks for your work. Have a good one. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
That is so rough, man. Like it's been such a terrible year for studio closures and just layoffs in general. And it's like
Mhm.
corporate greed after corporate greed. Like the people that are making all of the bad decisions that are leading to the failures of these games are just like,
Mhm.
it's your fault. Like that whole meme of like that guy that's driving the bike and sticks a stick in the fucking wheel and blames it on somebody else is 100% accurate for this.
Fucking players. Meh.
Like it's so
Am
fucking
I
bad.
out of touch? It's like the Principal Skinner meme. Am I out of touch with the youth? No, the youth
No,
is out
it's-
of touch with me.
No, it's the community that is wrong.
Yeah, so hopefully we
Oh
can
my God.
get control of this because clearly the developers are really fucking talented at putting the game together. But if corporate's like, hey, you guys have to include this cash shop, even though it's a single player game in Watch Dogs, you got to do it. So like,
Too bad. Suck it.
yeah, so hopefully they can get that figured out. But hopefully all those developers can find a job because they were really good. And I heard Visions of Mana
Mhm.
was a pretty solid game anyway.
Yeah. Like it looks like it's doing well.
All right,
Yeah.
Scott, what is going on with Toadman Interactive?
Speaking of layoffs and closures, for fans who still play Helldivers 2, looks like Arrowhead's going to need a little bit more help because Toadman Studios, Toadman Interactive, is actually going to be shutting down a lot of offices across Europe. So they've just, once again, it's
No matter
you
how
hate to see it.
successful you
You
are,
hate to see it. Like they no matter how, yeah, exactly, no matter how successful you are between Helldivers 2, Dead Island 2, Planet Side 2, just resume list, right? They're still just shutting down offices. It's, so that's not, it's not fun. It's
And
never,
like it
never
doesn't
fun to
matter
see
how
that.
good your
But
game is too, like live service games, for example, they're only gonna make so much money. It's not like they're gonna print money forever. I don't get why these
yeah,
developers think that like, oh, look how well this game did. Cool,
yeah,
great. What's
yeah.
next? What do you mean?
Yeah, you have the quote from them. So like they're worried about they're gonna be shutting these down to basically try to worry about taking care of redundancies. Like,
Hmm.
welcome to the Department of Redundancy department. Things that they don't need, things that they don't have to get rid of. They said, like many other game companies, we have gone through a tough period over the last 12 months, and unfortunately, that means we are shutting down our offices in Stockholm, Visby, and Oslo, as well as having some redundancies in our Berlin studio.
yeah, makes
Uh,
absolutely no
so,
sense. Yeah, it's rough, but hopefully those guys can also find a new location to work at.
yeah.
All right, guys, let's end out our industry news. We're probably the most exciting thing ever. Like, I never like when it was first announced, like they're really making this. But watching this trailer, I'm like, anything could be made. So let's someone go ahead and roll the trailer for the Minecraft movie featuring Jack Black. Let's turn off those subtitles. Read those. And let me see. Actually, let's unmute it too, because I
The
think
fact that they didn't have Jason Momoa as Steve
yeah, they chose Jack
is just
Black.
is just ridiculous to me. I'm waiting for like there's gonna be some twist where like Jack Black is like, my name's actually Brian, and then he turns out to be Steve. Like,
I mean, it looks really good. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
No, the graphics look amazing. It looks really well, rendered for a CGI movie. But like, I just
Who are you?
I
I'm
am Steve.
all I gotta
Okay.
say is like,
This guy is such
if
a
we
tool
don't
bag.
get like, if we don't get like Hero Brine, like a Hero Brine, like what would you call it? Where somebody comes
cameo
in.
or like
Cameo, thank
Yes.
you. Cameo. Like if Hero Brine doesn't make a cameo,
There's gotta be. There's gotta be. That's probably like that's probably the first thing that they
like Dark
actually
Jack
wrote.
Black.
That's probably the first thing they actually wrote for the movie. They're like, hey, we're gonna do a Minecraft movie. Awesome. What's the story? Doesn't matter. Here's when Hero Brian's gonna come in, right? So
Like you remember like in the dark days in the internet when people would talk about Hero Brine?
Yeah. Like, I was always like curious. I was like, is it real? Like, because I played a lot of Minecraft by myself.
I
And I was
still wake
just
up in a cold sweat,
you're like, is he there? Is he watching?
middle of the night. I was like,
Is he there? Is he watching? Is it secret? Is it
I,
safe?
I say that we have a nightlight in the bedroom because of my new daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I
Just
say.
making sure Hero Brian's not there.
but really, it's Hero
You,
Brian.
you wake up, oof.
Oh.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
That's
but put this for a minute though. I do see
yeah.
a lot of people that are complaining about this who are fans of Minecraft, who
Yeah.
have been kind of upset that it's just all it is just kind of like it's just kind of like a just a self-reflecting joke as far as some of the stuff. So I'm anxious to see how they do it. A lot of the adaptations have not been great lately. Looking at you, Borderlands. But I'm really hoping that they do
Spicy.
well with this. And Jack Black is quite literally my favorite actor of all time. Like,
Right.
I love him so much. I get in constant debates whether or not he's an A-list actor, and I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it since Kung Fu Panda that he was an A-list actor, and School of Rock and Tenacious D: The Pick of Destiny. But
Keep
I
going on
really,
and on.
really keep going
He's a
on and on
really
and
good
on.
actor. Like
He's amazing.
no lie.
He's
Yeah,
amazing. I love Jack Black to death.
100%.
And I'm really hoping that like him and like I would like to see Jason Momoa in like a comedy area, so I'm anxious to see how they do it. But definitely going to be there watching it, and
Right.
hopefully.
And I know
Praying for
the
the best.
twisting nether probably is not referencing about the movie specifically here about For My Kids, but the movie is actually going to like hit on so many levels because it is going to be made for kids because there's kids play Minecraft. But the thing is,
Mhm.
Roger, me and you, I know me and you specifically have been playing Minecraft since like day one. So it's like this is
I
also for
played-
us.
I played when the game was like first, like when rendering the world didn't even work still.
Not the Minecraft beta. Oh shit!
Alpha. No, sorry, in dev. In dev, which was even before alpha, I played.
Yeah, I remember you
That
inviting
game
me to
was
play, and you were like, "You just got to
yeah.
pay like $20, and it's like the alpha version or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool, whatever." And then I was like, "That was it, fucking hooked from the very
Yeah.
beginning."
Yeah, that's how it goes. Nether. You give them 8 hours of the game, they're gonna know how to play it more than you.
And it's like Minecraft
That's
is
how it
used
is.
also like in schools for like
Mhm.
like teaching like ways of doing it, and it's like this game is like the biggest game like period.
Yeah,
Like,
it's. I mean, we've spoken about it before. It is the biggest game in the world.
yeah, it is the most sold
And it
game of
has
all
been.
time. Like,
It has been
Mhm.
for years. I hope that they kind of do this thing where it's like, yeah, it's aimed at kids and like it's a kids movie, but they made it for us.
yeah.
I
And
better
like
get some dirty fucking jokes that
I'm
are
sure there's
good.
gonna be
I was
those
gonna
like
say, we get
under
the
like low
jokes,
key
we get
jokes.
yeah, like we get the references or things like that. I'm really hoping for that because those when that's done well, it's
It
shit.
slaps.
It slaps.
It slaps. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on though to our gaming news because we do got a lot to dive into. All right, so we did already cover the hot topic community request by Marshmallow talking about Risk It Rain. So we'll go ahead and move on to the number one topic of gaming news every week, and that is Xbox. First off, news, unfortunate news here, not necessarily Xbox, but it's under the Xbox umbrella. Unionized staff at Raven Software has said Activision is stalling over contract talks and has since filed a complaint to the Nation Labor Relations Board. So now somebody's not playing fair here, guys. What is going on? It's sad to see like they unionize. They're the biggest union in the gaming industry. As I block everybody's camera since I can't drop that article down there on that monitor, I guess. But yeah, it's so crazy to see. Like, why can't we just get this stuff figured out? Like, why is there still so much toxicity surrounding Activision Blizzard? Like, Xbox just needs to go through and just clean house at this point.
Because they're made of toxicity. That's why it's still there. Yeah,
They
at this
eat,
point it's not
sleep,
toxicity
breathe
surrounding
toxicity.
it's not
Ugh.
toxicity surrounding Activision. It's like, oh, Activision's doing great, but they're just surrounded by this cloud of toxicity. No, at this point it's like
They are.
Activision they are the toxicity. at
Most
this
of the
point.
people are the people that used to play Modern Warfare 2 from back in the day. Like, it's that level of toxicity.
Hey. Leave me out of it. I have nothing to do with Activision.
And then it's getting revived too with the new mechanic in Black Ops 6, being able to use somebody as a meat shield and then talk to them because the voice channels get unlocked. That's been
It's
some
gonna be
great
so
content
great.
on TikTok.
Yeah, it's gonna be so good. Oh, you got me.
It was
So,
like,
anyway, back to the actual topic and like the broader issue here is like the just fuck Activision, man. Like this is just one of those asshole moves where they just do what they don't want. They want people to go through contracts and it's like they don't give a shit about their developers having a good quality of life.
Yeah.
Now
What's quality of life?
it's an early release. You have to pay extra to have it, and the cake comes out 20 minutes early. Really, it's the. I just don't understand why they stall when these talks happen. It's just
right. Well, hopefully they gotta start clicking
it's
gears since
unionized.
this complaint was
Like,
filed.
like they're unionized. Like unless something that they were requesting or anything in their contract was like particularly egregious, like just shut up, sign the fucking paper, and get back to work.
Yep. All right. Another news topic here is Capcom has finally come out and confirmed that the Xbox versions of Marvel vs. Capcom and the Capcom Fighting Games Collection 2 are on the way. When these were originally announced at the PlayStation event, I think later at the Nintendo event, Xbox was not labeled as any of the platforms that it was coming to. And again, this was an ongoing issue that like a lot of developers are having issues with like the Xbox support ticket to get the process rolling, getting the games added to the store, getting them approved to be on the store. And like there's been a plethora of games calling them out on Twitter saying, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on
And
with your support
and
ticket?
we talked about this weeks ago, and I mentioned something, and I was like, I'm be real with you. Like I was talking about how my experience, and not even
Yeah.
being in game dev, is just horrendous with Microsoft. Some of the tickets, sometimes you're like, you open a ticket and you're like, well, it's been 72 hours, and they've ghosted me.
Yeah. It's just mind blowing that like these people have been waiting for months and still haven't even got a ticket to even be
Mm-hmm.
looked at. Not even looked at. It's just been sitting there like waiting, pending for review or whatever. And it's like, are you that understaffed or you just have that broken of a system that you
Well,
can't
no, it's
keep up with
because
your
that's what
tickets?
happens when you fucking outsource your entire goddamn
Mm-hmm.
help desk
Mm-hmm.
and you bury fix actions under policy and SOP, and that's it. Like that is it. Especially if you have something that's like, oh well, this ticket you have an agreed upon SLD for response times, this, that, or the other. Response times based off of type of incident, type of issue, type of request, whatever, stuff like that. It's what happens when you outsource all of this shit for pennies on the dollar, and you get somebody who either doesn't know how to properly standardize.
Yep.
Even and we're just talking. This is like tier one at this point because every ticket's got to go through like a year tier one from Microsoft, so they don't know how to properly standardize like their entire tier one process. They don't know how to standardize the tier two, the tier three, or who even it goes to at that point. Like, and at that point, you just sit on shit. If they're not getting yelled at for a ticket being a month old, then why would they do it? Why would they work on that ticket
Why would they care?
if they're not gonna get yelled at? If they're not gonna get their pee smacked
And I notice
for
like a lot of
breaking an
companies
SLD,
also
like
don't offer like the option to speak to somebody. Like you don't. There's no customer service number. Like, hey, I need to talk to somebody.
No
There
man,
is
AI
nothing.
has got you. It's
AI, it's
okay.
got yeah,
It will take care of everything.
yeah. That's the
so
solution.
so to not I can't think of the word or whatever. Two experiences with that is one, local CVS. You can't call your local CVS if anybody's ever fucking tried.
Good luck.
You
Yeah.
get their 800 number and you get
Yeah.
you just get phone treed into oblivion. Alternatively, I did have to call and make reservations for a bachelor party next weekend, and the AI slang AI, it was slang AI, um, was fucking phenomenal. I'm not gonna lie, dude. It was the best. It was the best AI I've ever talked to. It was amazing. I just said whatever I needed to say. They're like, "Hey, what are you calling about? What is this? What is that? Oh, unfortunately, we can't do this, but we can do this. Do you have like?" And it just did that, and then next thing I know, I got an email. My reservation was done. I was like, "This is
This
how
was
it's
so
supposed to
easy.
be. This is how it's supposed to be."
Thank goodness. But
All
yeah,
you rat
Promised
fucks.
land is here.
Yeah.
the other game that recently dealt with this issue was Intoria, the last song. They actually literally went on Twitter and called out Xbox, like tagged them motherfuckers in the shit, and was like,
Good.
"We cannot get a hold of you guys. We need somebody to fucking help us out." And then they put out a thank you letter and says, "We would like to officially thank Phil Spencer and his team for reaching out to us promptly and helping us resolve our situation." And I was just like, it took for them to call
Damn.
them out on Twitter to
That's
then
the
fucking
closest
fix
you
the
can
shit.
get. Like that's the closest you can
Yep.
get to a guillotine in the public square at this point.
It's
That's the
so
closest you can get, and that's what we need.
because
Mhm.
and the thing is because of this, like this game comes out I think next month or something like that. It's set for September 19th. It's not coming out on the Xbox on September 19th now because of this shit. It's being delayed because of it. And like this is like a lot of issues that a lot of games are dealing with. They're like, we would love to get the game on Xbox, but the fucking process to get it on the Xbox is damn near impossible and we can't get a hold of anybody.
We would rather rip our dicks off, but we're gonna go ahead and try to get this on there for you
This fucking
after we've
call
collectively
tree.
ripped our dicks off.
Well, hopefully now that Phil Spencer is made aware of the issue, that they can maybe figure something out that makes this process a lot better. But good to see that they are fixing
Probably
a lot
not.
of these one games at a time. But the thing about it, they're like, someone pointed out, they were like, there's thousands of games that go through this process and have no issues. So it's like when one or two have issues, you're like, in the grand scheme of
It
things,
happens.
it's not bad. Like it's
But now
really
it's
not.
prevalent.
But it's right in the fucking like in the face of everybody, like your media. So like I actually told my wife about this example the other day. It was like some teacher wrote like the math problems on the board, like the multiplications of 9, and got one wrong, and like the whole class laughed at him for getting that one wrong. He was like, "That's the problem with society. I got one wrong, but they didn't worry about all the 9 that I got right." And that
Well,
just
it's you can fix a million things at your job, but if you fuck one goat, you're always
Yes.
gonna be known as the guy that fucked the goat. That's it.
Always,
It's
always.
always it's
100%.
always
That's great. I
it's
love
always that one you
it.
get wrong.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next part of the Xbox news, and that's their services for Game Pass edition. So we got Star Trucker already out now on all platforms. Age of Mythology, we're told, also out now on cloud, PC, and the series consoles. Expedition, a Mud Runner game, is also now available on all platforms. But on 9/11, we are getting Riders Republic, which is pretty interesting because this is a game that I wanted to check out. I just wasn't willing to pay $60 or $70 to check out, and it's kind of like the BMX bikes and the hang gliding and like this like really like extreme sports kind of game, and I want to check it out now. It's coming to Game Pass, so it's going to be one of those games, hop in, hop out, see how it goes. But if anybody's curious on how trains work, Train Simulator World 5 is coming out on the 17th of Game Pass for all platforms. So it seems like these 5 games are very like simulator esque of some point. Like Star Trek, you're driving a truck in space. Age of Mythology, another simulation game of history just retold. Expeditions Mud Runner, like you're going like on these expeditions on out in the mud and in the woods. And then Riders Republic, another simulation game of extreme sports, and then we have Train World Simulator. So it's like the or the simulating batch. Are you guys excited for any of these?
The autist in me is loving the train simulator.
Yeah.
100%, 100%. Like I'm just
I
like
can't knock it because me and Roger used to
I'm
play
just like
Thomas the
yeah.
Train all the fucking time as kids
I
with the wooden
loved
track.
trains growing up, man. If there was nothing could get my attention like a model train set. So like I am being genuine when I do say that. Other than that, it's gonna be Age of Mythology for me because that shit just very nice.
Oh man, dude. I don't know if I could play a train simulator, but
All right. So, and then on September 15th, there are games that are leaving: Ashes of Singularity, FIFA 23, Payday 3, Slime Rancher 2, Spider Heck, and You Suck at Parking.
no,
Roger,
you suck at parking.
I actually
Yeah.
played and
I
beat
don't even
You
play.
Suck at
I
Parking.
work
That was a
from
really fun game. Roger, I think you played and may have beat Slime Rancher 2.
Slime Rancher 1.
Just one, okay. Sad to see Slime Rancher 2 leaving already. Payday 3 recently was just added, so I'm surprised that that's leaving. But Payday 2 is still going to be on the service. FIFA 23 makes sense because 25 is about to drop anyway. And I think
Mhm.
24 is still on the service, so not really worried about that. But I heard Spider Heck is pretty cool. Uh, and I don't know much about Ashes of Singularity, so not much really leaving. But Payday 3, I'm actually really surprised because this game actually benefited big time from being on Game Pass. But maybe they
Oh
just
yeah,
have
it
to
flopped
revisit.
day one.
Yeah, but it definitely boosted the player count once it came on the Game Pass. So maybe it's just the end of the contract and they have to renew it and it could be added back at a later point. But next up here in regards to games from Xbox, Halo announced their new operation called Champions. Comes as new maps, new modes, and a new battle pass. This one is basically centered around the theme of like Halo Reach. So a lot of the maps from like the campaign or the multiplayer are returning into Halo Infinite. Some new older ones. There's going to be some new firefight missions as well. And obviously the new Operation Battle Pass that has 20 tiers. And so, Roger, you excited to hop back into Halo and check out this battle pass?
I don't know. Maybe I'll jump back in just to play the PvE mode, but I'm kind of like Halo was fun for a little bit there, but then it just everyone sort of fell away.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of happens. You just move from one shooter to the next. I'm sure we'll be back.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is Forza has unveiled a new game content inspired by the Jordan brand and Luka Doncic. So basically, like the new sneaker that's coming out from Luka and Jordan. Basically, you can make the car kind of have like the similar colorway and like design. It looks pretty cool. Try to get it up here on screen so everybody can check it out. Here, this is right on from the Xbox Wire page. Has the nice white with the black stripe, gold accent of gold. Um, Nice little setup there to be able to play Forza, I would say.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
that's nice.
And this becomes
Nice.
available
Very nice.
in
Come on.
Forza Motorsport on September 9th and Forza Horizon 5 on September 10th. So I'm actually looking for. I actually recently downloaded Horizon 5 just so I could check out this content. I know JD over at Shoot to Win is a big Luka Doncic fan, so I was looking to grab some screenshots with some of this content and get it over to him so we can post it up on our social media pages. But overall, it's pretty cool to see that they're still supplying content for both games and to see the partnerships that they're doing, especially with Jordan. I mean, I would not have thought about a racing game partnering up with a sneaker company, but here we are. Next up, though, that is everything for Xbox. So, Roger, what's going on in the PlayStation world?
Yeah, so PlayStation decided it is time to raise the price of their console, and by a lot. In Japan, though. So sorry for our Japanese viewers here, but it's going to cost quite a bit more. We're looking at the DualSense controller going from 9,000 yen to 11,000, the digital version going from 59 to 72, and the disc version going from 66 to 79. So quite a big difference we got going on here for that.
That's a lot of damage.
That is a lot of damage. You are correct.
Yeah, I'm really confused on why they are raising the prices of the PS5. I mean, like, what are we, 4 years into the
They're
console
not
cycle?
succeeding.
Right. The console is kind of like stagnated. Like, it's still like barely moving. They're not making money from consoles. And usually, like, at this point, the pricing of the first generation console of the new generation drops in price typically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we've not seen a price drop at all from either side. And if anything, they've been going up. And what even
Up and away.
and what even makes it more crazy here is that the PS5 Pro is rumored to be announced this month to release later this year. So why raise the price of this console and then release a console that's going to be way more expensive than that console? Like I don't.
Milk the
It's
shit out of it.
It's some last minute bucklages, really. That's all it is. It's last minute dollar dues to try to get something stuff their pockets before the new shit comes out.
Mhm.
And just so we're all on the same page here, in real dollars, this is $561.70, the PS5 disc. When it goes up to the 79,980 yen. The yen is like, I think it's like 70 cents per dollar or so, like 0.7 cents per dollar, something like that. Little ridiculous. But yeah, so that's what we're talking here. So they went up from about 400 and some, 480-ish to about 560. So adding about another $80, $90 bill on your PS5 tab.
Yeah, absolutely insane. I just don't get it. Like I really want to buy a PS5, and I know this isn't the United States. Like the United States market hasn't gone up at all, thankfully. But it's like I'm waiting for the PS5 to drop. Like if you're looking at like $350, $400, you know, that
Maybe.
I'm down to get it because I do want to get the PS5 for their exclusive still because it's still going to be better to play it on the PS5 at that price than it is on my PC because my 3060 isn't going to run the game at 4K 120 like the PS5 can. And Astrobot
Hey,
that just
Disney's
dropped.
here. Hey Disney.
Astrobot that just dropped the other day, which we have not covered yet, could be game of the year. So like, it looks really fucking good.
All right, let's move on to our next topic here about one of our favorite studios over at Sony, and that is Bungie. So the Marathon director, the game of Marathon, the director is been fired due to inappropriate conduct. Turns out it's not just Activision Blizzard here that doesn't get away with sexual misconduct. It turns out they do the same. So it's getting a little weird here, but like talking about, original IPs like Marathon,
No, real quick,
Astrobot.
though,
Yeah, go for it.
8 female employees came forward against
8,
this guy.
yeah.
Like that's
8.
insane. But we also can't forget, like I'm gonna tie this really back to Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard used to own Bungie
Yeah.
when they left Microsoft when Destiny first came out. So maybe that, it kind of branched off
Corporate
into
culture.
it kind of branched off into Bungie and then Bungie left, but it still brought the parasite with them.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I mean, corporate culture is corporate culture, and then once you kind of end up in that boardroom, it sticks.
Yeah.
So, and talking about those original IPs like Marathon, Destiny, stuff like that. CFO, the Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki has said that Sony doesn't have enough original IPs, supposedly. But he's not talking about Sony games. He's talking about Sony Entertainment in general.
I think they're pretty.
So you all
crazy.
heard the same thing I just heard, right? Sony said they
What?
didn't have enough original IPs.
But yeah,
Yeah,
they
right.
own a ton. Like I'm lost, but they keep a lot of stuff dormant, and they're like, we don't want to bring it out. Like in games alone, I can name off like probably at least 10 that they just leave dormant that would do really well in today's world. But
Hmm.
here we are. But the thing is, they're really complaining because they're like Microsoft has like this like slate of games ready to announce, and PlayStation has like one.
I
Well,
feel like this is
every
the
time.
equivalent of. Go ahead.
No, you first. You first.
I feel like this is the equivalent of nobody wants to work, but they want like master's degrees and they're gonna give you like $13 an hour. And I feel like we don't have enough original IPs. It's like no, you fucking
have 'em.
do. You absolutely do. You just don't want to do
Yeah.
anything with it because it would be hard.
Right. And the issue is like they've been revisiting like how much it costs for game development. And like, yes, for them, it's been costing them millions of fucking dollars because they want to make these blockbuster AAA quad A experiences like Spider-Man and God of War. Like, yes, these games are going to be huge, but like, why don't you just make AA level games that
Well-
don't cost as much to make, but are still going to be like printing money out? Like, make a Sly Cooper game.
Well, the
It's
issue
gonna be
is,
expensive when you have to give out refunds for every fucking game you make.
yeah, and like the problem is we've been talking about it for months, for years now. Live service is not the answer. You can't just look for a quick fix and band-aid the shit out of your game with live service. And if you do, it has to be a free fucking game. You can't just slap live service on something and say, yeah, that'll print checks. Oh, but it's also $40. Eat my dick, bro.
Get
Free
fucked.
ones over here.
Get fucked and stay fucked. Honestly, those are the two things.
Yeah,
Those are the
like-
two pieces of advice.
Get bent, bro. Like, what the hell?
I wish I could
How you
fucking
think somebody's
find.
gonna buy it?
Wish I could find the tweet. Someone listed every live service game that was announced during the Jim Ryan age, and not a single one has succeeded except for Helldivers 2.
Mm-hmm.
Every game has like failed.
I mean, fuck, if you
which we're
played
gonna talk about-
Alzheimer's too, of course that would have succeeded. It was fucking dope.
And the thing is, we're going to talk about one of the failures here soon. But yeah, what's going on with the PlayStation services, Roger?
All right, so services. We got a few changes here. The mostly just involve PS Plus free games. So September, we've got Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, which honestly, funny enough, has a PlayStation 1 era meme like that.
Yeah.
The developers knew their target audience and they succeeded, it feels like here.
Yeah, that was actually absolutely legit. I'm gonna get that pulled up
Like,
as you continue the
Fucking,
conversation.
oh man, it's so good, dude. Like the paper hat for Hagrid is so good.
Yeah, I got it pulled up here on screen. Like basically, like they took the PS1 graphic of what Hagrid looked like in the old Harry Potter games, and like just made it like a paper hat in this game. And I'm like, yes, like what you were doing with this one.
Who doesn't love this? Who doesn't love this shit though? Like it's just one of those things. Is like it's wholesome. It's nostalgic. You're like, this is the
it.
content we're here for. This is what we're
Right
here
here.
for. Costed nothing. Cost nothing. Cost me nothing. That
Not at
that
all.
face. Like,
Yeah, absolutely
well,
epic.
Okay, and then next up,
And real
MLB
quick though,
The
for
Show.
that game though,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's awesome to see like this be part of PlayStation Plus like September games because like it's basically a day one game available for free via PlayStation
And it
Plus.
shows that Harry Potter and that extended universe is kind of becoming the Sony like handshake here. Like,
Yeah, they did that
Could
with
this be
Hogwarts
one of their
Legacy
saving
with the
graces?
DLC. Yeah,
yeah, it for sure absolutely can be. There's still people that love like Harry Potter, the extended universe,
Mhm.
all of it. They love the Wizarding World. The Wizarding World is huge, especially among people like our age range, like millennials, the people that were 11 when Harry Potter was 11, and we went and we
Mhm.
saw Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending on which side of the pond you're on. And this could be huge for them, and it's like this is your cash cow.
yeah. And
It
this
is.
and this game's
Really.
been doing okay. I mean, it's like a 7 out of 10 for most places, 77%. So it's like
It would have been better if it was a side sport in Hogwarts Legacy.
it really blows my mind, right? Like we talk about that all the time, not being a part of Hogwarts Legacy when it should have been. But in Harry Potter: The Quidditch Champions, you can play as characters from Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, that's what happens in extended universes. So, did you know, as a matter of fact, actually, in one of the Avengers, Iron Man is also there. That's what happens when no. But yeah, no, I agree. It's annoying because like you could have had this as even just a DLC for Hogwarts Legacy, like
All you had to do.
introduce Quidditch in Hogwarts Legacy. and then make a DLC
Money.
just for
You know,
Quidditch,
I have
and you are shitting out American dollars.
I have one gripe with the game, right? And it's how the snitch works in this game. It does not end the game. It does not give you 150 points. It only gives you 30 points, and it continues the game. And I'm like, it's like, why even change the whole concept of what the
So,
game, how it plays in the movies, and how the game played in the game originally? Like, I'm lost on why do such a drastic change. It's like saying like you changed football, but like now like a touchdown's worth 1 point.
No,
Like, now,
man. Get them touchdowns.
but a field
hey,
goal,
as long as,
but a field goal
as
still
long
worth
as a
3.
field goal, as long as a field goal is still worth 3, the Steelers will be just fine. We're okay with that today.
Yeah. So
when
curious
when
to see
your
that.
kicker is accidentally the best player on your team.
All right, Roger. What other games are coming to PlayStation Plus this
All
month?
right, next up we got MLB The Show 24. So
Better late than never, I guess.
Yeah, better late than never. Like I was gonna say, at least it's this year's, I guess. But like,
And the thing
okay,
is, this is a Sony game. Like this could have released
Mhm.
day and date into the service, but you know, what do I know?
Yeah, why? Like I canceled my PSN Plus just because the games weren't modern enough. They were just too old.
Right. And this is actually a pretty solid lineup. All 3 of these games.
Yeah, I just man, this is just feels bad. Lastly, we got Little Nightmares 2, a day late and dollar short.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Little Nightmares 3 is right around the corner. Haven't played
Mhm.
2. Here's your chance. Because I think the first one's like free or like available on most of the services already. So it makes marketing sense.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's round out with our last live service game news.
The
We've
biggest
got
news of the week.
Concord. Yeah, Concord lasts less than the bread in my cupboard.
I mean, the memes can go on and on and on and on.
Like, dude, the carrot meme I posted: buy a bag of carrots still lasts longer than
They
Concord.
said the housefly lives longer than this game. The
So
Con-
I
the-
actually
the
I have
Concord
extra bathrooms
grapes.
now. I have extra bathrooms now, and I peed in one of them, and I think I forgot to flush, and that was before Concord launched. And I think there's still pee that I have to flush that outlives Concord.
Yeah. It's so bad. Like a live service
I
game
can't.
that was $40 that had no ties to any other IPs that are known.
Well, the CFO told you they needed more original IPs, and see how it worked for them.
Just
Yeah, well,
release
it
this
worked.
game free
Oh
to
man, it worked
play.
so well.
Free to play, you'd have been fine. Like it was bad enough when they were comparing Deadlock before Deadlock was officially announced. They were like, this
Yeah.
secretive game has more players playing it than this game. Like, and there was like a max of like 600 people playing Concord, and most people that were probably playing the game were PlayStation developers for other studios than PlayStation.
Mhm.
That's bad.
I think in terms of real players, there was probably like
3.
well, there was at least tens of them. There was tens of them
Tens of them.
all over the place.
They did
Like,
confirm
there
that there
had
was
to have been at least
25,000 sales, but they all got refunded. So
Yep, they sure fucking did, dude. Like, oh man,
Crazy.
that's
and the thing is, like, as soon as this news
it's
broke, right,
unfortunate.
I hopped on GameStop because I really wanted to go buy the game from GameStop because I knew $40. Like this
They
is going to
pulled
be,
the game.
it was available to go buy, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna wait till Friday when I get paid to get it. Check the fucking website again. It's not even listed anymore. I was like, what assholes? Like, it's available now on eBay for like $500.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really wanted to buy this shit and flip that motherfucker.
You're not getting any more than $500. That's all I'm saying. Don't do
Yeah.
it.
No.
I know
I
a
mean,
bad
if
bet
I-
when I see one.
Because I even hit up Camp Hill Play and Trade. I was like, hey, yo, do you have any copies of Concord? He was like, no, why? And I was like, oh, I just got pulled from the store and I just want to buy it as a collector's item. He was like, oh, man, thanks for the heads up. I was like, yeah, you're welcome.
If I see any come in and I give them $2 of store credit,
Right.
I will make sure I get that and I will sell it for $7.50.
Fucking flip that bitch. But yeah, I'm just flabbergasted. Like, this game lasted not even 2 weeks. And it's like, it
Mhm.
was just set up to die. Like, there was no marketing behind it.
It was
There was no
it was
beta
dog
behind
shit.
it. There was no
It
alpha
was-
behind it. There was just nothing. And like
it
he
was set up
basically
to
tried to
fail.
pull from like the Guardians of the Galaxy like vibe of the game and then hype it up like, oh, there's gonna be weekly cutscenes that you get to watch before you play. And I'm like,
What? No.
Who cares, bro? And like I was listening to a lot of podcasts, right? Like hardcore gamers, and they're like, when I play first person shooters and they have cutscenes, they get skipped. Like
Yeah,
I don't even play those games for
first
the
thing I do,
cutscenes.
fucking spacebar. There's a dent on my spacebar every time.
Every time I
Just
load up
bop,
Warzone and there's a new cutscene for Warzone, it's like skip by. I don't
bop
care about that
immediately.
story.
Yep, auto skip, just fucking boom. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what you have to say. I just want to go. I just want to hop in.
But this was by far the
Really?
biggest news in gaming over the last few weeks. Like people were actually really curious to see like the studies that come from this because of how bad it was. Like
This is 100. This is 100% a case study in how a game fails.
this is how what
This
not to
is
do.
this is like it's nothing. There's no gotchas. There's no what could have happened. Like this is straight up like your bottom of the barrel. Like here's how you explain a failure of a game launch,
Mhm.
And the thing is,
and this is it.
mind you, this game was reviewing well. It was getting 7s out of 10, which was like blowing my mind.
But was it though, or
but-
were they being paid to
Right,
give it sevens?
And that's really what bothers me because like I broke it down. Like I took IGN just for one example. They gave Concord a 7 out of 10. You know what other game they gave a 7 out of 10? Starfield. Starfield is a bajillion times better than Concord. How are they on the same fucking review scale? It shouldn't even be close.
Leagues above it. I think at that point it's like, hey,
Redfall, which was a fucking phenomenal flop, got a 4 out of 10, but still had more players that ever play Redfall than ever even touched fucking Concord.
that's because Redfall was actually fucking interesting.
I agree.
The case behind it was actually fucking interesting. And this is what happens when people are just dishing out money. And you had actually spoken about this a long time ago, at least 3 weeks ago.
It's fair.
So when it comes down to reviews and things like IGN, Game Rant, all this good stuff, like all these places that do reviews, you said, okay, but at what point do they just like, why would they review a game badly? Because then that studio is going to stop giving them fucking games to review.
Facts.
And we've already seen
And
in
that's
certain
exactly what's gonna
certain
happen.
contracts when they do review them, they're not allowed to say anything bad about their games.
Yes, and
Mhm.
like, hey, it's a review, and now there's basically almost, like, for all intents and purposes, a gag order for anything bad you have to say about the game, and now you have games that don't last 2 weeks that are coming out with 7 out of 10s.
Yeah, makes no sense. I can't wrap my mind
Absurd.
around it. Like it really bothers me, and I'm really like there has to be a documentary made about this game.
That's what I'm saying. This is a case study in game failure.
What
This
not
is
to do.
This is a case study in a failure of a game.
Like this really competes
And
with
there's-
the days before that zombie game that was like very misleading and lasted like 2
Oh
days.
god, that fucking game.
Like it came out in January and like it came and gone like faster than this game, but it's like still, but like that game was nothing and turned out to be nothing. This was a PlayStation first party game, live service game that you had to pay $40 for. That was just bad. It got pulled in 2 weeks. Like they didn't even want to let this game maybe even try. Like why not even put this on free to play? Just say, hey guys, we'll refund you the money. It's free to play. Let's see what happens then. Does the player count goes up? Does people start to enjoy the game? No, they were just like, we're gonna take the game down. Not available.
Because fuck you, that's why.
Like
Because fuck them.
you know this game took 8 years to develop. 8 years. You know what games got canceled? There was a prototype and infamous game that was in development. A crossover game that would have been fucking phenomenal got canceled because of this game.
Yep.
You know, there's a couple other games that spent a long time in
Original
development.
IP.
Original does not equal good.
They had original
No matter
IP that
how, no
probably
matter
was
how
going to be
bad we
good.
want it to. No matter how bad we want it to, original does not always equal good.
Yeah, see,
That is correct.
see, I've been having a lot of built up energy for this part of the conversation over the past couple
Yeah,
of
you
weeks.
seem frustrated. You've been chewing ice. You
And
doing
it's
all right?
because like I am an Xbox fanboy, right? And I really start to see the Xbox tax is what they call it on the Twitter these days. Is that whenever Xbox does something, they get fucking blown to bits. As soon as PlayStation does something bad, they're like, they did something bad? Where? Like they just like turn their eye. They're like they didn't do nothing bad, and it's like
Well,
so
it's
bad.
because
And like all the all these like game companies like IGN and stuff, they were trying to they were literally memes of them doing CPR. Right? It was a meme of CPR, and they're like IGN trying to breathe life into this fucking game. Like they were really doing everything they could to say this game's not that bad. Everyone should check it out. But as soon as Redfall was bad, they're like Xbox, what are you doing, bro? You're the worst developer ever.
Well, it's when everyone's looking up at you, they only see the underside. That's
Yeah.
really it. When everyone's looking up at you, they only see the underside.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
can't
kind of what I
complain.
was about to say as well. Like we expect great things from
From Sony.
Microsoft,
Oh.
but like on the flip side, like what do we expect from Sony lately? And that I think is the true thing here is like
Well, we expect bottom of the barrel from Sony, so when Sony does
yeah,
bottom of the barrel,
But
we're
no,
like, yeah,
hey,
we saw that
that's
coming.
Sony.
but I
Yep,
think it's
that
like
makes
reverse
sense.
though. It's like Sony. I almost expect greatness from Sony. Spider-Man 2
Nah.
was great. God of Ragnarok
Mhm.
was great. Astrobot was great. Helldivers 2 was great. Like you can list a lot of great games. Demon Souls remake was great. Final Fantasy 16, still a solid game. The Final Fantasy 7 remakes, great game. Like all of these PlayStation exclusives that
Mhm.
we come to expect have been good. So like when they do release a game like Concord and it doesn't live up to the PlayStation hype because PlayStation is trying to chase a dream that they're not good at. PlayStation has never been good at live service games. Period. Why do you think they bought Bungie? They bought Bungie to then put them in charge of overseeing all of the live service games. And that has not gone well. They canceled a Last of Us live service game in favor of making Concord. I guarantee you live service Last of Us game would have done phenomenal no matter how bad
Oh,
the
yeah.
game would have been. It still
Mhm.
would have sold
100%.
really well just based off of the IP alone. So again, the people who make
Well,
the
but
game
Sony
are
doesn't
going to
have
get
IPs,
laid off
so
and struggle from this, while the people that made all of these decisions are going to be just good job, guys.
mhm.
But nonetheless, we could definitely spend hours on this topic. There is another massive part of this episode here, and now we're going to move on to Nintendo. There was like what 20 or 30 some
I think maybe
games.
to count at this
Yeah, I
point.
think there's like 30 some games that were showcased at their like dual event that they had one day. So we're not going to really cover all of them. If you want to rattle off the names, cool. But we can definitely highlight some of the ones that we're like really excited for. So Scott, let's kick it off here with Nintendo's events.
So what I'll be doing here for this little segment here is I'm just going to rattle all of these off. I'm just going to give the nice big list. And then what we'll do is we'll just talk about the ones we want to talk about. If anybody wants to talk about any of them in chat, let us know. We'll talk about them. But the Nintendo events, Indie World and Partner Showcase, were concluded recently, and we have a lot of things to go through that were released. Either they're going to be new releases, they're going to be coming to Switch, just a mixed bag. You name it, it was there.
There's a
So
link
what we're
here
looking
in
at
the
for,
chat too if anybody wants to follow along with anything that was announced. There are trailers for each of these as well.
if you can scroll fast enough, be my guest. Absolutely. I looked at it earlier today, and that thing was just wild.
Girthy.
It was girthy. Not so much the length, but the girth. And the girth is what matters a lot of the times. So, coming from Indie World Partner Showcase, we have Yakuza Kiwami. We have Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. We have Legend of Heroes Trails of the Sky remake. Castlevania Dominus Collection. Suikoden 1 and 2 HD Remastered. Capcom Fight Collection 2. Five Nights at Freddy's. My Sims. Tales of Grace F Remaster. Balatro teams up with Vampire Survivors, The Witcher 3, Among Us, and Dave the Diver. Neva, Civ 7, Power Wash Sims getting a Shrek DLC. Sea of Stars throws the Watchmaker DLC. Dragon Quest 3 HD and 2D remake. Atelier Yumia, The Alchemist of Memories and the Envisioned Land. Fitness Boxing 3, Your Personal Trainer. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Patrick Star Game. Goat Sim 3. Star Overdrive, Tetris Forever, Pizza Tower, Metal Slug Tactics, On Your Tail, Cuisinier. I don't know if I pronounced that one right. I want to say Cuisinier. Europa, Shovel Knights, Shovel of Hope, Pico Park 2, Wobbly Life, Peglin, Date Everything, Morsels, Moth Cubit, and Coffee Talk Tokyo.
My man, date everything. Let's go. You can literally date your blender. I'm not joking.
It is an
Date your
absolute
refrigerator.
mind-boggling of a game. Like I was really watching the event live, and I was like, "Are they for real? Like they really made this game, and they're really highlighting this game? It seems like a game that's like
than
on
Concord.
Steam. Like, it'll probably still be better than Concord, that's for sure. Pretty much.
It'll last longer, at least.
But yeah, man, there's a lot of games that have already been out for a while that are finally just coming to the Switch, which is awesome to see. Like the big one, it got to be the Yakuza Kiwami is coming later this October. But big ones that I was excited for has to be like the Sea of Stars DLC, Throws of the Watchmaker, and the fact that it's free DLC. Like I don't have to buy it, and this game was a 10 out of 10 that I finally beat at the beginning part of this year, and I'm like really looking forward to it because it also comes out next year. The perfect timing for that. But other one that was pretty interesting to me was Balatro, like the roguelike like card deck building game is partnering up with The Witcher 3, Vampire Survivors, Among Us, and Dave the Diver. Like that's a hell of a collection of like 4 drastically different games that they're bringing decks into. So really curious to see that one. Other game is Neva. It got its official release date for October. This is from the developers that made Gris, the game that I recently beat a couple months ago. And I'm really looking forward to that. But outside of that, I mean, I'm not really. I mean, I guess maybe SpongeBob SquarePants, the Patrick Star game. Like he's finally getting his own game, but they still had labeled it as SpongeBob. Sad.
Well, you have to. That's the IP.
Yeah, I guess. But everybody
That's
knows
the
Patrick
original
Star.
IP, my friend.
They'd be like Halo Cortana Chronicles. Like, you still gotta have it under that SpongeBob.
I guess. And last but not least, the one that I'm excited for is Coffee Talk Tokyo. But what about you guys?
I was wondering if Coffee Talk was really gonna perk your little ears up.
I mean, I beat the first one. I want to play the second one, even though it left Game Pass, so I have to buy it. But another one in the installment. I mean, the first one was really fucking crazy, especially with the ending. Roger, I know you remember, especially with Neil, the astronaut suit.
The first one was really good. I really was excited to play the second one.
What about you guys? What games on the long list of like 30 some games are you looking
Told
forward
you,
to?
man, it's date everything. It's date everything or bust.
Nothing else
Honestly,
excited you on
Date
this list?
Everything does sound really fucking fun.
That's my game right there,
Like,
man.
it sounds hilarious, honestly. I feel like I'd be doing a lot of it like ironically though.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Like, yeah,
It would be.
yeah. Like,
Of course,
in
it'd
my
be ironically. What else? Yeah.
I mean, for what it's worth, I did buy a really sexy toaster, but in real life, I can't really do anything with that
It's looking
toaster.
awfully fine today, bro.
Yeah, the toaster
Awfully
just looking,
fine.
toaster's just looking great. But unironically though, I think the Suikoden 1 and 2 HD remaster, I think it's gonna be huge.
Mhm.
Probably gonna be hopping into that. But Balatro, like teaming up with those other 4 games it came out of left field for me, but it feels huge.
I got the trailer up for Date
yeah.
Everything for anybody that's interested. Literally, like anything.
I'm not
that you wanna
interested in
date,
people.
They
move the people.
They like
I'm
turn,
trying to see what that staircase up to.
but they turn into.
Ooh,
What the
What the
staircase
fire-
doing?
Ooh, I really like
what
this
the
cabinet.
fireplace doing? Hey, yo, what the fireplace doing?
Oh
Hickeys.
shit!
Yeah, like it was a pretty like out there trailer. I was like, this it's really real. Like, if you want to date your vacuum, he turns into hooves or something like that. I'm like, okay.
I hear he sucks pretty good.
But yeah, very interesting game there. And then there's also a lot of remasters too that were announced that are coming to the platform, which we kind of already knew about. They're just more like updates. But I know everyone's excited for the Power Wash Simulator, the Shrek DLC. That looks pretty cool. You can clean up Shrek's swamp now if you want to. Whoever's looking forward to that. Civ 7, yeah, that was pretty good. I know, Roger, are you looking forward to Civ 7?
I don't know, man. I'm not quite sure what I'm looking forward to. Like Civ 7, it seems like it could be a good game, but like we're on the 7th civilization and the genre has kind of gotten stale. It's gotten pretty fucking stale.
Yeah, that bad, huh?
Mhm.
All right, man. Without, I think that's everything then for the Nintendo events that they had going on there. So, if you want to go ahead and talk about Bandai Namco for us.
Yeah. So Bandai Namco had an MMORPG called Blue Protocol. It didn't do well. Turns out, like live service and MMOs, really niche space, hard to compete. Weirdly enough, like
Imagine.
you expect people to have 100 hours per day to put into different live services and MMOs, but they just don't. So they're going to cancel the game. They're ending it in Japan and canceling the Western release because it's just not the game. You're just not that guy.
Right. They literally said that they admit that they're not going to be able to make the game that everybody wants from them.
Yeah, it's not what the like people are like, this is what I want. And they're like, that's not this game. Like
Yeah, I was just
Sorry, we didn't
so
think.
surprised. But yeah, like the whole idea with like live service games that have been bothering me is like you said, like who has the amount of time to invest in all of these live service games? Like imagine if every game was a live service game, how are
Yep.
you ever going to enjoy all of the content because you have to play all of the live service games? Like it just doesn't make sense. There's only so many amount of time in a day. We're not all content creators, so we're not playing the game 8, 10 hours a day. Like we all work, we all gotta sleep, we all got a life. So we're only gaming as much as we possibly can. And it's just like even me, like I know I can't play games that are longer than like 25, 30 hours. I know right now
Mm.
that's if I want to reach my goal of 52 games, I know I can't play those games.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know that I can't play a ton of live service games. Like I love to play Call of Duty, I love to play college football, I love to play all these games, but I know
You can't.
I can only invest very minimum amount of time into them. But then I feel like I'm missing out. Like that whole FOMO starts to exist.
FOMO is fucking
It's
crazy.
real, dude. Especially Call of Duty and then right now college football because they're rolling through like new packs
Mm-hmm.
that become available, new fucking seasons. You're like, oh man, I gotta get that. Fuck, and then you just miss out, and you're like, fuck it, you know.
I quit. I'm done.
Yeah.
GG. Bye.
And that's why you move on. That's why we move on. Like Halo, we moved on because like it's a live service game. Granted, yeah, it's a 20 tier battle pass, so that's easier to get through. You can do that in like a day or two. But like
Mm-hmm.
even then, it's tough to like, yo, I got all these other games that I got to play. It's just not
Yeah.
possible.
Like I just gave up on the 52 games a year, like, cause I'd rather just play a game I enjoy than try and like I'm gonna play Yakuza 6. It's got like over 100 hours of fucking content. I'm just gonna play that.
Right.
Like
Like the
that's
52
it.
game, like I literally I have a notes app that I'm trying to piece together the rest of the year
Mm-hmm.
on what games I'm going to beat each month and how I'm going to beat them because I still do want to play new games. Like I still got to beat Star Wars Outlaws. I still got to beat. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Black Ops 6 is going to be easy to beat because that's going to be like what a 5 hour campaign again. Stalker 2 comes out in November. Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out in November. The Indiana Jones comes out in December. Like there's a lot of bigger esque kind of games, but I got to plan those. But then also include like the smaller games that I can beat in 3, 4 hours at a time, or maybe up to 10. Like 10 hours is easy because I usually play for about an hour and a half at a time. So that's only like what 6 game sessions,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm good. So it's not too bad. But welcome back, Scott, as we move on to the next topic here with Square Enix, because again, another no brainer here. Oh, really? No fucking shit, Sherlock. Especially when I dropped the article into the Discord earlier this week. But Square Enix says they are from the Final Fantasy 16 producer Naoki Yoshida says that Square Enix is looking to double down on its Xbox releases after its focus on PlayStation led to a financial dip. And I put on these
Oh
fucking notes,
no!
duh.
Oh no.
Like no
Who could
fucking
have seen that
shit.
coming?
Like it's
Oh,
a
the
no
humanity.
Like Xbox is already way ahead of this. Like Xbox wants to put as many games in as many hands as possible. That is why they are going multi-plat.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people are like Xbox fans are having issues with like handling it because they're like, why do I buy the platform then if I can just go to a PlayStation, get their exclusives and get the Xbox games? I get the argument. But like you buy into an ecosystem. If I buy the game on
Who
Xbox,
cares about the console anymore?
it
The
doesn't
console
matter
is not how
exactly.
to play. It's about the fucking game, man.
Yeah,
That's the
I buy
thing.
the game on one ecosystem. I can play it on the
Mhm.
Xbox. I can play it on my phone. I can play it on the tab. I can play it on the Fire Stick. I can play it on the PC. If I buy it on PlayStation, I can only play it on the PlayStation. I don't get the PC version
Mhm.
of the game for free. I don't get a mobile version of the game for free. Like
Mhm.
that's the issues. But Square Enix is starting to realize, hey, maybe we should put these games on Xbox. Xbox is still a major player in the game. Like Xbox is doing better than any of their other generations. Yeah, they still may be in third place, but they're still doing exceptionally well.
They're doing work.
They're doing successful business, and they have a lineup of games. Like the issue with them is that their lineup of games was nothing. For the last 4 years, it has been very bare bones minimum. But over the next 2, 3 years, there is a massive list of games with original IPs that are going to draw a lot of attentions. But shout out to Square Enix for finally releasing their games on Xbox. Because the results have been in, because they recently released, was it Final Fantasy 14 MMO, and that has been doing exceptionally well once it came back.
Well, the
came to
game's
Xbox.
already huge in general, though.
Right. It just added to it. Like it just bolstered
Mhm.
that game like tenfold.
Well, and what it is at this point with Final Fantasy and hopping off of Sony, like, oh no, PlayStation was bad. It didn't get us money. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk?
You have to at this point you have to start thinking about jumping ship. Like, and you have to continually think about jumping ship, and like, yeah, you're gonna have to open that. You're gonna have to keep it open to Xbox. You're gonna have to make sure it's open to Xbox because Xbox is not the sinking ship.
They're here to
That's
stay.
it.
And like we forget that Xbox is also PC. Like they're one and the same, but they're a separate market at the same time because obviously, like most games are bought via Steam and not the Microsoft store.
Hmm.
All right, Roger, what's going on with Space Marines 2? Because it's a good game, seems like, but they may have done something well here.
Yeah, they decided fuck DRM. Like it can literally bend itself over and eat its own ass.
Yeah, when you dropped this, I was like, fuck yeah. Like, games need to do this more often.
This is what we need, dude. Like they literally said, "Nah, I'm good. I don't need DRM," because like DRM is fucking the gaming industry, dude.
Yeah, it's making games like
Absolutely
perform.
destroying the gaming industry.
Yeah, it's making games perform very poorly, and it makes it seem like games are very unoptimized. But it's like a lot of the
Hmm.
coding or software that goes into the DRM is really affecting like the game
It's
itself.
what breaks games lately, and people are like, "Oh man, this game's trash." Nah, it's just DRM, bro.
Yeah.
That's what it
It's
is.
fucking DRM. Who was it? It's like, okay, so we're gonna go back to Hogwarts Legacy for a minute. So like, you're reading Harry Potter, you're like, oh, I wonder who the villain is. And chances are it's fucking Voldemort, right?
Mhm.
So if you're playing a game and shit's going bad, like, oh, who's the villain? Is it the game name? Might be DRM. It's usually DRM.
Usually.
They're
It
who to
almost
blame.
always is.
Does DRM affect Game Pass games as well? Then
No,
when you play it via the Game Pass launcher.
no, because with those games they use well, yeah, you know what? Yes, the long answer yes, the short answer yes.
Because
Like
I'm wondering
Xbox
if
is
that's
your
like because I know
DRM.
like you play a lot of games via Game Pass on
Mhm.
PC, and you usually have a lot of issues when you play Game Pass games on
Yeah,
PC.
and what it is when you play those games on PC, you have to have an Xbox account. You have to log into the Xbox game bar, so you have to have all of this stuff, and then the game is also only developed with Microsoft code for Windows 10/11. So like the game isn't like the game that Steam or Unreal or Epic gets. Like it's a whole different game, like built from the bottom up.
Oh, shout out to Windows 11, by the way. They took over Windows 10 for the most gamers on
Mhm.
officially now.
Well, now they supposedly have
Well,
a
it's
new
kind of
feature
hard
as
not
well
to
to
do
make it.
when you force it on everybody.
Yeah,
Kind of hard
I
not
guess
to
my
do
PC
when
is
you
not
make it.
capable of running Windows 11. I guess I'm missing something.
You're not.
Uh,
Just install it. You're not. Install it. Mine said my processor wasn't great. I have a Ryzen 9 5700X.
Yeah.
Windows doesn't know. Windows doesn't know. Just install it.
What do you know, bro? All right, let's talk about some hardware though that Acer just recently announced. They are entering the handheld gaming market as everybody else is in the world, but they announced the Nitro Blaze. Um, and I'm gonna scroll down here to the list of specs, but it runs Windows 11 home. It has a Ryzen 7 8840HS 8 core, 16 threads, 24 megabyte cache, up to 5.1 gigahertz max boost. It also has the AI built into it, of course, and it has 39 AI tops, whatever the fuck that means. Graphics, it's running the Radeon 78M. It has a 7-inch Full HD display, IPS panel, 144 hertz, 500 nits. So it's not the brightest display, but it has a nice frame rate to it. Obviously, you're not looking for a 4K 1440p device, like especially not on the go. You're not looking for that. 16,
No.
16 gigabytes DDR5.
Well, you might not be.
Yeah.
I want a battery life.
Up to 2 terabytes of NVMe, which is cool. 2 USB 4 slots, which are Type C, 40 gigabytes, and a micro SD slot. 2 speakers, microphone, audio jack, and the rest of it doesn't really matter at this point. But it's pretty cool. The only thing that has not been announced is the price. So they said that could be the biggest selling point, no pun intended here, but it could definitely be its driving factor because I know Acer is
Make or break.
usually it helps out. Like I love their monitors, and it made them a little bit more affordable. The Nitro series monitors were really good and they were affordable. So if they can come in under like the Asus Rogue Ally, which is usually priced about like 800, I think, and the Steam Deck, which is probably like at least $600 to $800 right now, if they can come under that $500, they could definitely have a competitive advantage over them. Acer also was not finished though. This one was pretty cool. On their next one here, they Project Dual Play. It's a laptop that has a pop out controller.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a cool concept. But you can in the laptop bag, you could just have a Xbox or a DualSense controller with you. But if not, it's cool. But it's like when the controller pops out, two speakers pop out the side of the laptop here. Let's see if they got their specs. I mean, the concept is really cool, but it does not look like it has any specific specs yet. This is just obviously just in concept project. But what do you
Mhm.
guys think of this kind of laptop here?
I think that I think heat is gonna be an issue, but I think if they can handle an overheating, then that's gonna be outstanding. Honestly,
Spicy pillows are going to be the end all be all of the device.
yeah, 100%. If they can handle the overheating and possible battery inflation, possible issues with the battery, nailed it.
Yeah.
And does this say it has a fanless design, or does it say it's like a fully fanned design out? Because a lot of laptops recently,
Right. Yeah, I don't
and
think it
when
has
I
any
say recently,
specific
or like
specs yet
that's
for
like
that.
3 or 4 years, they've all been doing a fanless design and relying on heat sinks. But the issue here, this is going to generate a lot of heat,
Yeah.
and you can't get rid of that with just a heat sink. You're going to need a
Mhm.
fan at least. If they can pull that off and they can keep that heat in check, I think this is going to be really really awesome.
Yeah.
Like this would be like just the portable go to, like for gaming at this point. This is, I want to say it's almost like the Steam Deck or the Ally, like your portable answer to gaming. But when it comes to laptops, you have so much more room to fit better hardware in. Like you're not worried about size, anything like that. Um, so I think once again, it's all going to come back to that heat.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. So we'll see how this concept comes into play, you know. Maybe this is the next iteration of gaming laptops. All right. What else we got here on the docket? All right, Scott, if you want to round out with one of your favorite games that we've been talking about quite a lot lately on this episode here.
Yeah, and you know what? I think we're gonna end up talking about this for a couple years to come.
Mm-hmm.
And the game we're talking about, of course, is Hogwarts Legacy. And WB Games has actually said that the Hogwarts Legacy follow-up, it's a major priority, and it's a couple years down the road. But they still are looking at that sequel, that next piece of gaming IP that they can get from Hogwarts Legacy. Um, because Hogwarts Legacy was, let's face it, an amazing game. It was a great game. And so to see something coming out, like hopefully, and I'm just gonna say this, a personal preference here, hopefully it does take a few years. We've seen what happens when games have been rushed. We've seen what happens uh, when games have been just kind of like pushed out, early access, all this good stuff. I hope they take a few years for this. I hope that they do their due diligence. I hope they still stick really really close to uh like everything that's been laid out in the books. I hope that they can still work with that same story from Hogwarts Legacy, and kind of get just kind of like a little bit of an offshoot. But if you loved Hogwarts Legacy, if for some reason that's the only game you're playing, A, sorry. B, in a few years you'll have a new game to play. So really, really exciting coming out of WB Games for the Hogwarts Legacy series. I think this will end up being a series, just like a nice big continual evolution of a storyline.
Yeah.
I'm at least hoping, because it would be stupid not to.
Right. I mean,
The
I feel like
storyline
this is
they've had is just,
yeah.
it's good.
I feel like
It's
this is another layup for a company,
Fan-
and I really,
fantastic. Give me 14 of them right now.
but I just don't want it to come down to again that corporate greed where like, you know, Just push it out. We'll fix it day one patch or whatever. We don't care how broken it is. We need to make this money, and we know it's
People
going to
are
sell
gonna
well.
buy it. We have
Because-
simps. They'll do it.
And like,
WB hasn't WB hasn't given me personally any of the evidence to think that they're gonna do that.
did you forget
All
Suicide Squad
I'm
released?
all I'm saying is Suicide Squad.
We forget about that
Gotham
massive flop.
Knights.
Gotham Knights, yeah. You took Rocksteady, who was really great at making single player games, and told them to go make a multiplayer cooperative game with a cash shop. Yeah, no.
I don't think J.K. Rowling would
Success
let
story.
them do this. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I fucked
But,
that
like-
one up. I honestly thought for a minute that WB was gonna like treat this like a precious
Or
little mag.
multiverses that they released the game, but then took the game and said, "Oh no, this was a beta,"
was
even
beta.
though it was fully released
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it had a cash shop
No,
already.
hey, relax.
You into the
Yeah.
cash shop, and we may not
Guys.
even put the game back out.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
Relax.
Have a good day.
That was,
WB,
relax. That was a beta. Relax.
WB is a little shaky here for me, but no,
Not
honestly,
for Harry Potter though.
Harry Potter
That's
is
their only cash cow.
set up for the next few years to be successful. One, because we can't forget they are rebooting the movies. They're turning the movies, aka books, into TV shows, and each book is a season. So like they have that to build off of. I mean, it's kind of like what Borderlands was trying to do. They're like, here's this fucking fantastic movie we thought was going to be good, and then we're going to announce Borderlands 4 at Gamescom like a week later and expect the hype to be there, but the movie fucking sucked, so nobody really cared about Borderlands 4. They could kind of do that with Harry Potter, like, oh, Harry Potter season 1 here, and then Hogwarts Legacy 2 is here. Two completely different stories in the same fucking universe. It could just be a win-win, making millions of dollars or billions of dollars in this case, and it could just work.
That would 100% be billions with a B.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. This is a clear, easy layup with a well-known IP like Star Wars. Just don't fuck up like Star Wars.
We're back on Outlaws. We're back
Yes,
on Outlaws.
we
again.
gotta come full circle here,
I'm
guys.
back on that fucking argument. No, I get it. I get it.
But Star Wars has been doing this in more than just Outlaws. If it wasn't for Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order, that has been great. Battlefront 2 was garbage. Battlefront 1 was not that good for game-wise. Movies, none of the movies except for Rogue One since Disney bought them out have been good. The TV shows have been like, yeah, I mean, they just canceled The Acolyte because of how bad it
But
was.
some simps will simp for Star Wars just like they
I'm
will.
one of the
for-
biggest Star Wars fans ever, but like what
I'm
they
a
have been
huge
putting
Star
out,
Wars simp. I will not fucking play that game right now.
but what they have been putting out has been not that good. None of it has been that good. I mean, the Bad Batch was good. Like the animated stuff has.
The Bad
great.
Batch was amazing.
It's
The-
fucking
the,
great.
The Bad Batch was the first time I cried.
The Rebels.
the last time I cried since
Rebels. Rebels is
That was-
good. The Clone Wars season 7 was great. I mean, the Ahsoka TV show was great. But like all the other ones, they're a little shaky. It's a little shaky here, guys. But again, they're just relying on that IP to like sell them, and that's the issue. They're not worried about putting out good quality content. They're just relying, hey, it's Star Wars. It's going to sell.
What they should be doing, honestly, and this is gonna go for any large IP that has like a huge fan base. What they need to do is they need to have like auditions, right, for like a super fan, and they get the
Let me
auditions
sign
for
up.
the super fan, and the super fan helps with the development. Be like, no, that's not accurate because in chapter
That's just
6,
a terrible idea.
page 420.
And that's what Disney tried to do with
Yeah.
Star Wars. They made Dave
Like-
Filoni like the end all be all. Like he has to oversee every project that happens in Star Wars to
Yeah.
make sure that the continuity lines up. But they fucking failed at Acolyte because Kiade Mundi is not born yet, but yet he was in that show. Yes, they fucked that shit up
feel like this-
tenfold.
I feel like this will be after.
and
I
the
feel like this will be an after the
funniest-
podcast conversation. But yes, they
The
fucked
funniest
Kiadi
line, he
Mundi
goes,
up.
"The Sith
Did
have
not
been
fuck up.
extinct for a millennium," but yet he knew about them in this fucking show. Like, no,
the whole time.
the entire fucking time. And then you go and tell Yoda at the end of the shit. No, like no, you fuck Star Wars up, bro.
That
You
was
fucked
that was
up.
one of the first things. I was like, why the fuck is Kiadi Mundi right here?
Yeah,
I
it
was like,
makes
I
no
swear to
sense.
God, I was like, I better not see Kiadi Mundi in those goddamn credits. And I saw it, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it made no sense. Sorry for going down the rabbit hole, guys. Hogwarts Legacy was a phenomenal game when it did come out, even though it was an errand boy simulator. Still a good game. Should have had Quidditch at
That game was
day
good
one.
as fuck. All I wanted to do was fly around on my goddamn broom around Hogwarts and fucking Hogsmeade and all that
That's
good
great.
shit. Fuck.
Even the
Yeah, it
combat
was
felt
very
great. Like all the spells was great, and how you could switch back between them. Like it was just a really fucking good game, and I'm looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy 2 or whatever the fuck they decide to call it. Just don't rush it out because of the IP alone. Please don't. Like if the game's not
I
ready
don't
to
think
push
they
out,
have to. I don't think they have to. This is one of the biggest IPs of our lifetime.
yeah,
Right. So this is one of like, I mean, I saw Sorcerer's Stone when I was 11. I'm 35 now, so for 24 years. I don't think they're gonna worry about rushing it out
right.
because they know people are gonna play it. They know people are gonna
Well,
gonna go with
if the
it. Like,
biggest game of our generation that's supposed to come out next year, this is a rumor by the way, GTA 6 might get delayed until 2026. And for them to want to delay a
would've thought?
game that is so massive that is going to break the gaming industry, and they're like, waiting one more year won't hurt us. If they're okay with that, but I mean, 2K is like set up, like Take-Two Entertainment is set up phenomenally because they just announced Borderlands 4 and the Mafia games, like, and obviously they already had print money off with NBA 2K, and if they have the new, apparently 2K is getting the FIFA license, like, I understand why they would be okay with delaying it by a year, but like, if the biggest game of our generation is okay with delaying, do that with Hogwarts Legacy as well. Don't rush the game out. Delay it if needed. Hot take here, guys, here at Press Start Podcast.
Yeah, can't wait for GTA 6 to come out and be delayed a year and still.
Can't wait to
Suck in
play
sunlight.
Star Wars Kiade Mundi, the video game. But here we are. But that is all the gaming news that we do got for you this week. Any last thoughts before we close out the episode, guys?
Hogwarts
WB
Legacy
is
is
gonna
gonna
fuck
be
it
a
up.
huge thing. Nope. I don't think they are. I think they know what they have. I think they're gonna sit on it, and despite popular belief, J.K. Rowling is still at the helm of any IP controlling Hogwarts. So I think we will have something that might actually like work for story and be playable at the same time.
And
They
hopefully
don't
it
need
comes
your
with
money. They
Quidditch.
just want it. So they want it, and they don't want to refund you. So they're gonna wait.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Well,
give you.
hopefully
They're gonna give
Hogwarts
us a great
Legacy 2
game
has
again.
a Quidditch game in it, and then hopefully they have like a deathmatch game where you can play like TDM in Harry Potter world and just run around with a Avada Kedavra and just kill everybody.
As long as it has morality.
Morality definitely needs to be in it. That's
As long
for
as
sure.
it has morality, we already talked about that. It was leaked and it was supposed to be in the first game.
Yeah.
If they have morality in this next one,
They need it. They definitely need it.
fucking chef's kiss.
And they need to do it as like Mass Effect level or like KOTOR level. It has to have impact. It can't be Star Wars Outlaws level where who gives a fuck about their reputation if it go up or down. But nonetheless, we do want to thank everyone who checked us out live here on Twitch, and anyone does check us out later on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
Discord.
Discord only, guys.
You can always find me on Discord.
And what's your name on Discord, man?
It is. Oh God, is it?
Uh-oh, I'm
What
calling
is
him
it
out.
now? I'm Lunatic Oblivion with an underscore. I'm
What
over
about-
here like, damn, what's my fucking name?
That's lunatic _ oblivion.
There we go. And what about you, Scott? Where can the community find you at?
You can find me on Discord when I'm playing some games. My Discord is Scubby1, just like you see right here. If you want to catch me on Instagram, see what I'm doing. Mainly being a dad, which is the best thing I've been doing
Hell
for
yeah.
the past couple months. You can catch me on Instagram at Scubby1.
All right, and everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _ Threads is Mr. Never Chillin. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin. If you want a game, party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or even if you want to come on the show, slide into DMs there. And I do stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv / Mr. Never Chillin, where I am currently playing through Star Wars Outlaws, and I soon will be starting another game as well. I'm trying to decide between Creatures of Ava or Journey to the Savage Planet. One of those two games. They're both on Game Pass. So I'm looking forward to checking out both of those games. But without further ado, we do want to thank everyone again. And until next week, peace.
Press Start Podcast.